392 Gang? It's your boy 392 rolling back with another video. I have some important information to share with you guys involving my car. I just got it at the shop and I still need to get a couple more things done to it for it to be 100%, but I need to share this with you guys. Hopefully that you don't have to go through this, what I went through, because I was out of a lot of money and I'm still don't know why things happened the way it did. But talking to the dealership and then me having somewhat of a conclusion on how things happened the way it did, maybe I can share this with you, you can understand, and then hopefully this doesn't happen to you. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Also hit the like button. Feel free to comment on any questions you might have after you've seen this video, and I can kind of explain some stuff if you didn't understand it the first time. So this is my 2017 Scat Pack Charger 392. For those of you that are familiar with it, I did add some rims to it, and they are size 22. And I know in a previous video from a while back I said I was going to probably get some 24s, but 22s is pretty much the best option that you can get for your car. That way your performance isn't lost. The bigger the rim, the slower your car is, and the worse your performance is because you got a bigger rim. These cars are designed for the size tires that came on it, which are 20s, and 22s is 2 more inches, and that's not really going to alter anything. But that's just my opinion. You do what you want. And so that's what I had just added to the car, was these 22s. I'm not familiar with what the rims are. I did buy them off somebody at a good price. They are on some Continental tires, which I extremely love. I didn't know those tires was as soft as they are, and it gives it a real smooth ride. The color is brilliant black with fire engine red pinstripe around the rim, so it really sets the car off, and I like it. The fronts are 265 30 22s, and the rears are 285 30 22s. So that's the size dimensions on what I got on there. I might go with some wider tires, probably some 295s, because these are deep dish. So I'll probably go 295s or maybe a 305. So we'll see what I can put on. I know 295s will probably fit, but I'm not sure about the 305s. But if I can get 305s on there, that's probably what I'll put on there. That's the back. I'm just happy to see it. I haven't seen this car in probably 2.5 weeks. So, okay. Let me pop the hood here. Kind of dirty. Okay. One of the problems I think, and the dealer think also, that started this whole fiasco is this. I have a crack in my intake manifold here. I don't know exactly where the crack is. He told me it was inconclusive, which means you can't see it. They did spray around the edges with liquid. Nothing happened. They sprayed on top of it, and they seen some kind of suction up there somewhere. So it's up in here somewhere, and I don't know why that has a crack in it. You know, that's still confusing to me, but that's what happened. So by it having that crack in there, it threw the car in limp mode. And for you guys that don't know what limp mode is a safety feature that your car has, and what it does is that it prohibits your car from going over a certain amount of speed, which in my case, my car wouldn't go past 28 miles an hour, and it's like it's protecting itself. You know what I'm saying? If the car's detecting something's wrong with the car, it'll go in that mode. It'll go in that mode until you get it checked out and get it fixed, or something's loose and you get it fixed. Whatever the problem might be, you get it fixed, and then you unplug your battery for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then you plug it back up, and then it resets the car, and then the car is fine. It gets out of limp mode. So what happened is that I had to replace a bent rod. I had to replace some lifters, and 2 valve springs was broke. So, you know, you get that phone call from the dealership, and at first he's like, yeah, you got 2 valve springs broke, you know, and we need to fix those, and that was going to run me about $1,300 parts and labor. So I was like, okay, if that needs to be done, you know. And I don't know why that the valve springs would break, but like I say, these cars are high performance cars, and anytime you do something to these cars, like putting an air filter or an intake system or a chip on it or exhaust system or anything that makes this car go a little more faster or respond quicker than what it's designed to do from the factory, that something in your car is going to happen. Something that's just a given, you know, unless you just don't drive your car. So I understand that, you know what I'm saying? So that's why, you know, when you get a cam or you get anything extra on your car that helps its performance, it's definitely going to overwork another part of your car that's factory. So I always remember that. No matter, I mean, it could be something as simple as this air intake. This increases your throttle response, and it's overworking your car a little faster than what it was stock. And so something else is going to wear out. And I'm not saying that as soon as you put one on there, something's going to happen. I'm saying eventually something's going to happen. So always remember that. Okay, so I got that phone call again, and then he's like, well, what did you do to the car? I said, what do you mean? He said, what did you do to the car? I said, nothing. I said, I was out and about one night, and I was driving around. The car was driving fine that whole day. And I was out and about one Friday night, and I went to Wawa's. I mean, I'm from Florida. Well, I'm originally from Oklahoma City, but I live in Florida, so if you live in Florida, you know what I'm talking about. Wawa's is one of our stores that we got down there, one of our nice stores that we got down there, a little convenience store or whatever. But anyway, I went to Wawa's, got me something to drink, sat in the car was running, sit there and drunk my drink that I had, and then I noticed my air intake gauge in the car went up to 194 degrees, and that's pretty hot. So on your intake, should range anywhere from 145 or 142 to about 175. And that's what it's sitting. Because when you're driving and it's sucking air in there, it'll probably go down to 142, 139, something like that. But when your car is sitting, your car should not go no higher than 175. So if it goes a little harder than that, then something's going on there. Your car, your air temperature is getting a little too hot for some reason. Because even as it's sitting still, it's still sucking there. It's just sucking a little more hot air because there's no cool air coming in. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, so this is the last thing I got done was this Typhoon, K&N Typhoon air intake. That's the last thing that I just got put on there. Okay, so what I'm thinking is that the valve springs broke because the car was, you know, I drive my car, you know, I daily drive it. I go back and forth to work. I go to Tampa, I go to Miami, I go to Fort Lauderdale, I go to a lot of car shows and stuff. And then I also do burnouts and I clown around a little bit. I don't do this car in that fashion a whole lot. I just do it sometimes. So I can see if I was out here just racing my car all the time and doing stuff to it, but I wasn't doing that. I mean, I do that. That's like every once in a while I burn out and do little crazy stuff to get, you know, people take pictures and videos of it, and then plus it's content for my channel. But by my car being a high performance car and by me driving it all the time like I do, like back and forth to work and then traveling, you know, like I said, out of town to Miami, Fort Lauderdale or Tampa or something like that, that those parts just basically wore out. You know what I'm saying? That's the only explanation that I can have as far as the springs. Okay, now the intake being cracked, that's another mystery. We don't know, even the dealership don't know why that the intake was cracked or why it stopped working. This car is a 2017, so it's not that old. This is 2021, and it's barely even not even 3.5 years yet. It's barely 3 years old, and well, a little over 3 years old, and stuff like this shouldn't be happening. You know what I'm saying? Unless you just out here just really dogging your car out and red lining it and stuff like that. Oh, that's another thing. I drive my car, I use my paddle shifters a lot. And I think that might have something to do with it also, because I got a pedal box throttle enhancer. I got this K&N Typhoon. I got my exhaust. I got some stuff done to this car, so the car performance is a little more hyped up. And I drive using my paddle shifters, and a lot of times I don't pay attention. And when I go, the RPM gauge, it goes up real fast, and that's something you got to pay attention to, especially if you're driving using your paddle shifters. Is that RPM gauge goes fast. And even though your car doesn't have a red line, I think it has a red line in there, but even though, because mine can go all the way past 7,000 RPM, and it'll be bouncing off the bottom of the circle. And you shouldn't ever let your RPM gauge bounce off the bottom. You didn't went too far. You're supposed to shift it at a certain point and then let it go back up and speed back up and then go back. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking that I've done that a few times where I'm not paying attention, and then I might take off fast and then it's bouncing off the bottom of the RPM gauge, and I'm not shifting it sooner, and still letting it, you know, shifting it at the shift points, letting it go all the way down. So that's bad on your car too. So I'm thinking that played a part in that. And by my valve springs being broke, your rods don't have nothing to rebound. Your rods is going up and down like this, and your rods is rebounding off those springs. And if it didn't have nothing there to rebound off of it, the rod was actually hitting the piston. So the rod hitting the piston, smashed my rod, because he said my rod was smashed. It was smashed. It was smashed, and then by the rod being smashed, it ended up messing up some lifters, which is kind of like up under that. So this was all eternal stuff that happened, you know. And as he's telling me all this stuff, and I'm just like, still don't know how this happened, but I kind of have an idea. Like all the stuff I just explained to you led up to this, you know. So it ended up being, it was $2,680. It was $2,680, and then he knocked it down to $2,500 even. And then when I went and picked it up, he knocked it down even more to $2,415 or something like that. So he gave me a break, but at the same time, that's still a lot of money. I don't have no warranty. My warranty's out. My extended warranty's out on the car. I got like 71,000 miles on it, and that's just from me driving out of town and driving it all the time. So, but it still runs good. You know what I'm saying? It still runs really good, and so it's not like I got 200,000 miles on here and then it's time for shit like this to happen. Excuse my language. But the car runs good. It's still fast. It's super responsive. You know, it's just, I think it was a driver error. You know, me letting my RPM go too far, too many times, and broke my springs. You know, now as far as the air intake being cracked, I don't know why that was cracked. That's confusing. So these air intakes are hard plastic. It's not metal. So keep that in mind. If you had your car more than 2 to 3 years, I advise you to get a test on your air intake manifold just to make sure that it's right, because when it first had a crack in it, you couldn't tell. But I did notice that my car wasn't, you know, the speed, it was a little different. you know. But, you know, like I say, I didn't really pay attention to that. And then I guess the crack or whatever got worse, and now it's sucking in too much air, especially when I got this on there, because this sucks in a lot of air, and it probably made the crack even worse. So now it has a lot of extra air going in there that don't need to be in there. Okay. The first week that after I had these issues and stuff, I replaced my manifold sensor, which is here, because I did go get a diagnostic test, and what it said is that it said misfiring and possible air leak. So I went and got a sensor. It wasn't a sensor. I went and bought new spark plugs, $200 on some spark plugs, because these cars have 16 spark plugs. I checked all my coil packs. My coil packs was good, so I put new plugs in there. It still was running like crap. And then, so after the first week of me troubleshooting it and trying to figure it out on my own, I just went ahead and had it towed to the dealership. So, and then when I went to the dealership, and then on top of all this, before I did that, I tried to do a hard reset. And here, there's a fuse in here that'll hard reset your computer. And I did that, and then the car went in lock mode, which means I had to put a security code in there to unlock the car for it to even start. So on top of all that's been going on, I did that, which I shouldn't have did that, because I looked at YouTube, and then they said do this and it'll get kind of reset your car. But all you have to do normally is just unplug your battery. You don't have to even do that. You know, if your car ever goes in limp mode and you get whatever done fixed on it, whatever you get fixed on it done, you just have to unplug your battery. You don't have to do a hard reset with your computer fuse. So don't do that. Okay, so they had to hook it back up to the machine. That cost money. They unlocked the radio, because they had to do that to even do anything on the car. That cost money. And then, of course, you know, dealing with the dealership, you know, stuff is always going to be more expensive. But I feel really good about it, because there's people working on the car that knew about the car. They had the right tools and everything to work on the car and make sure the car was running back to specifications that it was supposed to be ran back to. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. So now I need to get this air intake manifold replaced. I ordered one online, so it should be here in about 2 to 3 days. I didn't get one from the dealership, because the one at the dealership is $1,036, and I didn't want to spend that much. I ended up spending $695 online at Mopar.com, and I ordered one from there, and it was $695, tax and everything, delivery fee, everything. So I saved me a few bucks, and then once that come in, I got to take that manifold off, put the other one on, unplug my battery for 15-20 minutes, and then my car will be back to normal. Even right now, started up, it doesn't sound nothing like it did before. Before, it kind of sounded like a choked up Harley Davidson. That's how it sounded. And I did put a video of it on my social media and on my IG. And those of you, like I said, those of you who got my IG or whatever, if y'all heard it, you heard it. You know what it sounded like. So it sounded real bad, real bad, real bad. It wouldn't stay started. I had to, you know, it just wasn't running bad. Now it stays started. It still doesn't go past 28 miles an hour, but it stays started, and it runs a whole lot better than what it did before. So now I got to get that switched out, and then my car will be back to 100%. So here's my information. There's my YouTube. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed. Welcome all my new members. Welcome all new subscribers. Welcome all new commentators, people who's checking out my video. Appreciate you guys checking it out. That's my IG if you want to hit it up. And that's it. That's basically what I got to tell you. You know, if you do drive in paddle shift mode, try not to kind of keep your eye on your rev limiter. Don't let your car over rev. You know, always try to keep your RPM gauge in the power band. That's what gives you your speed, because as you go higher up on the RPM, the car is already at its peak. So basically anything after the power band, basically your car is running the same amount of speed until you shift it again, and it goes down and it goes back up to that power band. So that's the best advice I can give you. Or you just drive around in regular automatic mode. You know, my car is extremely loud, so when I drive it in paddle shift mode, it just gives me that stick shift feel, and my car is loud when I shift gears and stuff. And plus, it helps me to get through traffic because traffic down here is crazy. So instead of, you know, you hitting your brakes, I shift down, and that kind of helps me save on my brake pads. When I shift the engine down and barely tap my brakes, it helps slow the car down versus me hitting the brake hard and wearing out my brakes. So that's the point of me doing that. So hopefully you guys, that this helped you out. Here's my invoice. Paid. That was the total of what I paid. You know, so Dodge Chrysler Jeep. So hopefully this video was helpful to you guys. Hopefully this doesn't happen to you guys. These cars are very fun, and you know, you get out there and you show your stuff, show out a little bit. You know, just kind of keep your eyes on certain things about your car, as far as like your revving and stuff like that, because you never know, stuff like this could happen and you'll be confused why, like I was, on why this happened. But is this certain driver error that I've done on my part, as far as like over revving it and stuff like that, it caused certain things to break. And what made it worse is that night that it did break down, I let the car cool off, and then when I drove it home, it messed the car up even more. That's when the rod broke, and then that's when all the other stuff broke, because I don't know what part I was in Cape Coral, but I don't know what part of Cape Coral I was in, and I just didn't want to leave my car there. So I drove it home, I let it cool off, and I drove it home. It was driving slow, but when I drove it home, it was running even worse and worse, because like I said, the springs was broke, and so the rod didn't have no rebound, and so the rod was just probably getting smashed up, me driving it all the way to the house. So that's what happened. So hopefully this video can help you guys and help those that have these type of cars, 392s or a Hellcat engine or RT 5.7 or even a V6. You know, all these engines have different configurations, are more powerful than the other, but they all kind of have the same setup. So that's some of the stuff that you need to look out for as far as your car is concerned. And hopefully you guys still have a warranty on it, or extended warranty on it, and then hopefully you don't have to pay like I did, you know. So thank you guys for tuning in. Like I say, appreciate all the support and love. Shout out to Gulf Coast Mopar Car Club in Fort Myers. You know, those are my buddies. Those are the guys I rode with, you know, and they supported me, checked up on me, made sure I was all right, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you guys, and looking forward to the next car meet or car show, because here in about a few days, that'll be replaced. My car will be back to normal, and then hopefully I don't have no other issues. 392 Rolling. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. My IG is 392_Rolling_. Check it out. I got a lot of pictures on there. I got a lot of videos on there. And thank you guys for your support. Thank you, Dodge Chrysler Jeep in Fort Myers off of Cleveland and Galilea. Dwayne was the advisor. He's the one that kept me in tune. He's the one that helped get my car in there at a quicker pace. You know, thank him for that. And like I say, thank everybody who's been checking on me, you know. And looking forward for some new videos. I got a couple other videos that I can make without the car being, you know, at its 100% best right now. I still got some other videos I'm gonna upload, and hopefully you'll like those too. Hit that like button, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions, just hit me up in the comments, and I'll do my best to let you know. You know. And I did buy a new throttle body, which I didn't need. So I bought a throttle body, spark plugs and an intake sensor that I didn't need. So, you know, all that extra money for nothing. But anyway, this is a learning cue. You know, I'm learning, so I won't never do this again. So thanks again. See you on the next go around.